Welcome to Tallahassee on a gorgeous April Saturday for our first look at Florida State since last year's magical season. No ACC team has been better the last 2 years than Mike Norvell's Noles, unveiled today in the spring showcase at Doak Campbell Stadium, undergoing renovations. So all the way up top, we say hello and thanks for joining us. Alongside former Noles legend EJ Manuel, I'm Mike Monaco. Pete Thamel joins us in a moment. 13 wins last year for Florida State, has them as the premier program right now in the ACC. But a lot of stars are off to the NFL. So what's in store for an encore?
Well, the thing about it is when you win 13 games, the standard is set, the blueprint is laid, and the expectation is known. And again, when you're a young team and a young player on the team that goes 13-0, and then, of course, Orange Bowl was what it was, you want to continue that taste of success.
Yeah, 13 wins and 14 transfers are here. We know how much success Mike Norvell and his staff have had through the portal. These are 5 of them. Jordan Travis is gone, so the new QB1 is DJ Uiagalelei back in the ACC. And then, EJ, you've got your eye on Marvin Jones Jr. and Roydell Williams.
Yeah, Marvin Jones Jr. actually called Florida State as soon as that transfer window opened. He said, look, I want to come back home and be a Nole. And I say home because his dad, Marvin Jones Sr., is a legendary linebacker here at Florida State in the 90s. And also Roydell Williams, running back coming from Alabama, SEC pedigree, going against some of those defenses. So he's certainly going to add a lot of depth to that running back room.
Well, we mentioned DJU, and as we welcome in the authority, Pete Thamel. Pete, you spent time with him on Thursday. What'd you learn?
Well, I walked off the practice field with him, Mike, and he's clearly energized by this opportunity to play at FSU and especially to play in Mike Norvell's offense. He mentioned the words creativity, innovation, and collaboration when talking about this offense. He said that they're constantly adding wrinkles, including the Dolphins' fast motion that became all the rage in the NFL last year. As for Mike Norvell, he said this offense is going to allow DJU to play within himself, and he also said that he has stupid talent that he'll be able to exploit within the offense.
Find me a quarterback who wouldn't like that, EJ.
Absolutely.
That is the good stuff. It's all part of the new look Noles, and we are about ready to get rolling in the spring showcase. When we come back, the head ball coach, Mike Norvell, stops by. I wouldn't mind it up top if we can.
Geico makes car insurance easy. As easy as getting stuffed up during allergy season.
Before all the pollen, I used to stop and smell everything. The smell of fresh cut grass, my coffee in the morning, the hot dog smell from the hot dog guy. You did this to me.
With an app that puts your policy in your pocket, it's easy to Geico.
Curse you, ragweed pollen!
Right now, you can get any large pizza for just $12 from Pizza Hut. Any pizza, any crust, $12. That means meat lovers, supreme, or create your own with any toppings, just $12. This deal won't last long, so order any way you want now.
Dad, don't forget about my new cleats.
Sweetie, I can't make it to Dick's this week.
Have you heard of Dix.com?
Have I heard of Dix.com? Have I heard of Dix.com? Whoa.
Don't overthink it. Let's go shopping.
Anyone impressed with how fast that was?
It's a couple of seasons. Spring showcase is underway, and Mike Norvell's with Pete.
Mike, obviously you're going to have 11 players potentially drafted next week. A lot of new faces out here today for the Seminoles. What should we expect today?
Oh, I'm excited to see these guys come out and compete. It's been a great spring practice. A lot of speed, a lot of explosiveness. We've seen a lot of great playmaking ability. Now it's time to go do it in front of our fans and on television. So it's great to see these guys continue to work, take another step.
DJ Uiagalelei, obviously all eyes will be on him in his Seminole debut here. What should we expect from DJ today, Mike?
He's had a great spring, and I think he's transitioned really well. I'm excited to see him come out and compete and continue to get better. You're kind of one of those things where you want to see some good, and you want to see some things we can continue to coach and continue to help grow it as we're building towards August. But he's been remarkable, really proud of him, and excited to see him go out there and play today.
You mentioned the speed and explosiveness. Are those some tenets of an early identity as the 2024 team kind of comes to life?
Well, I think the identity's got to be work, and the reason you're able to develop and grow in those in that speed and power and explosive movements is because of the work they put in the winter program. Obviously, some talented young men, but I really like the mindset and the way that they approach each and every day.
You had mentioned Thursday's practice was one of the best and most competitive practices you've had here at Florida State. What does that say that guys were locked in with the spring game so close?
Well, I think those are one of those identity practices, when a lot of eyes go on to today, but what are you going to do building up to it? And these guys definitely didn't try to get through it. They tried to go and get better, and it was a very competitive day, and thought it was definitely a positive step to what we ultimately want to be, and now we get a chance to go compete today.
All right, thanks, Mike. Step one for the 2024 Seminoles starts now.
And we are off and running at the spring showcase. Not a traditional spring game, so just some drills going on right now, but we will have game action coming up. When we come back, we'll have more on the new starting quarterback here in Tallahassee, on DJ Uiagalelei, when we come back to Doak Campbell.
So this is pickleball? Pickle! Oh, these guys are intense. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement. Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
Dad, don't forget about my new cleats.
Sweetie, I can't make it to Dick's this week.
Have you heard of Dix.com?
Have I heard of Dix.com? Have I heard of Dix.com? Whoa.
Don't overthink it. Let's go shopping.
Anyone impressed with how fast that was?
Gatorade Zero. Zero sugar hydration with all the flavor and electrolytes of Gatorade. Hydration for every athlete, forever.
The Vanderkoys control the city. They killed my family. So, our mission is simple. Make them pay for what they have done. Boy Kills World, rated R.
Every game of the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship right here on ACCN and the ESPN app starting Sunday afternoon with these first-round matchups. Number 9 seed Louisville against 8-seeded Virginia Tech at noon. Then the 7-10 game between Pitt and Clemson. Drills and warm-ups going on here at the Spring Showcase for Florida State. All right, so we talked about DJ Uiagalelei, and everyone knows his story. Huge recruit, top 50 in the ESPN 300, goes to Clemson. As a freshman, he's Trevor Lawrence's backup, steps in during COVID, but then it was late in the 2022 season, gets replaced by Cade Klubnik, so he goes nearly 2,800 miles out west to Oregon State for a season. Coaching change there. Gets into the portal, and DJ said, my eyes were set on one school. I wanted to be here at Florida State, and he looks poised to take over for Jordan Travis.
Absolutely, Mike. And here's the best part about this. Hopefully, he secured all these flight miles as he's going 2,000 miles here and there. But in all seriousness, this was a great spot for DJ because, one, Coach Norvell does a great job of detailing footwork, timing, and all those things that lead to accuracy. And when you see DJ, 255 pounds, 6'5", and the ability to use him in the zone read run scheme, but also the ability to temper some of his throws. You see a slant route right there. Nice little play action pass here down the red zone, up and over a linebacker into a tight window. These are the type of plays that you can see from a DJ Uiagalelei. And even at Oregon State, when he went out to the Pac-12, excellent job finding his receiver up, streaking down the sideline. A lot of under center play action passing where he was able to give a nice read fake there and move up into the pocket, having strong enough of an arm to stroke it down the football field. And then again, down in the red zone, using that big body to hide that football and come out of it and find your receiver open for a touchdown.
Yeah, so excited to see what he does wearing a Florida State uniform for the first time. And right now, again, these are just drills that the Noles are going through. This is their normal work from the 12-yard line. So they've run a couple of plays. They had a 1-yard run and an incomplete pass right there. And we get to watch him in the turquoise, by the way.
How about the freaking color on this jersey right here? And, this is one of the coolest. At some point in the season, Coach Norvell is going to have to bring this out to a home game. But, again, this is the Seminole Heritage jersey right here that the quarterbacks and even some of the defenders are wearing, which means they're a limited guy. You can't go in there and just hit them full speed coming back from injuries. But, obviously, you don't want to see your quarterback get hit anytime in the scrimmage.
Well, they brought some pressure on him that time from Marvin Jones Jr., one of the guys that you had mentioned, on DJ. And Mike Norvell said to us yesterday that Uiagalelei has performed at a very high level. And he said to us, now it's just a matter of the repetition. They want to emphasize consistency, footwork, rhythm, timing, a lot of what you just talked about in the clips we saw.
Coach Norvell also talked about elite arm talent. When you turn the tape on of DJ Uiagalelei, whether it was at Clemson, whether it was at Oregon State, you could see him having the ability to really make any throw on the football field. My biggest key and the thing that I want to see today in this scrimmage is him just take a little bit off of that football on the intermediate routes. Because look, playing quarterback is not just about the 60-yard bomb. It's also hitting the 5-yard slant. It's also knowing where to go on a certain protection. So those are the small things that DJ's going to continue to gain confidence in doing. Because keep in mind, he's a new quarterback here. So it's not like this is his offense. This is something that Coach Norvell is still trying to teach and implement him also within that quarterback room.
Saw Ryan Fitzgerald, the sixth-year senior, who had a great bounce-back season last year. Still with this program, connected right there from 39 yards. So the offense talking things over. And again, this is what the structure today will be. It's not a true spring game. They call it the spring showcase. But we will get to see a lot of the offense going right up against the defense. Let's go down to Pete for more on DJ Uiagalelei.
Well, Seminole fans obviously are accustomed to Jordan Travis, and the Seminole program is accustomed to his leadership style. And one of the biggest compliments the coaching staff gave to DJ Uiagalelei upon arrival here is that he reminds them in his leadership style of Jordan Travis. It's low-key, it's leading by example, and he's made a seamless transition to one of the team's leaders. He's also made a seamless transition to Tallahassee, guys. He said it's bigger than both Corvallis and Clemson, so he likes it. He's living here with his longtime girlfriend, Ava Pritchard, a former Clemson volleyball player who is also with him in Corvallis. He turned 23 this week, and when I asked him what he did to celebrate his birthday, where he went to dinner, he said he took a cheat day and went to McDonald's. He had a McChicken sandwich. So DJU keeping it simple here in Tallahassee as he settles into his new environment.
So not at Shula's, not at Madison Social, just give me the McChicken.
Yeah, I have to talk to DJ about that now because we don't need too many nights out at McDonald's. But I got another good restaurant for him, too. It's called Lucilla's. Went there last night. Had a good time on my way in from the airport.
Lawrence Toafili got the jet sweep pitch from DJU and took it to the edge.
And this is actually some great reps down here, and we call the low red. So if you're starting the ball on the 12-yard line, as you get closer inside the 10, this is where things start moving a lot faster, where the windows for these throws get a lot quicker. And also, even for the defense, huge reps down here because, again, things are happening much quicker, and you got to make sure you're really sharp in your alignment and your assignments.
That's a third down rep for Uiagalelei and the first-team offense. Toafili, the fifth-year senior, takes it in for a touchdown. Well, they expect big things from Lawrence Toafili with Trey Benson gone, of course, and Toafili rising into a bigger role. Mike Norvell told us he's taken a great jump. A guy who was already a great player, but now he's one of the leaders.
Yeah, he's one of the top dogs coming back this year. You got to set the edge there of the defense, but they don't do it. Toafili gets to that outside piece. And again, this is a player that not too long ago was the MVP of the ACC championship game. Again, where there was no Jordan Travis, there was no Tate Rodemaker. It was a young Brock Glenn playing quarterback. So to get some type of offensive production, they certainly relied on number 9, Lawrence Toafili.
Slow to get up there. Sean Murphy, one of the transfers we showed you right off the top. Linebacker transferred in from Alabama, former highly regarded recruit, was in the top 40 of the ESPN 300, and good to see that he's able to walk off under his own power. It's the last thing you want in a spring showcase.
Absolutely. As much as you want guys to go out and compete and make plays and hit each other, you want to get out of this spring showcase healthy as possible heading into the summer.
So Ryan Fitzgerald comes back out. And by the way, we will get into true scrimmage action. We'll have a 15-minute first quarter and a 10-minute second quarter on the way shortly. Lawrence Toafili with a touchdown. NFL draft hopefuls like Braden Fisk, number 4 D tackle according to Mel Kiper, taking in the scenes in Tallahassee. And Pete said it to Mike Norvell right off the top. We could have double-digit Noles getting drafted here in just a few days.
And I believe we will. Again, when you have a team that goes out and wins 13 games, wins the ACC championship, that's the expectation, not only to win, but now move on to the NFL and get paid. So Jordan Travis, of course, if he hadn't had that injury, he would certainly be in the conversation for the top 5, top 6 quarterbacks in this draft. Trey Benson's going to be potentially the first running back taken. Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, those guys are going to be longtime NFL players. And Jarrett Verse, probably a top 20 pick in this year's draft. Really could have been last year, but decided to come back. It's going to be working well for all these young men about to get paid.
Yeah, you see that number 20 overall according to Mel Kiper. And it also leads into what the Noles need to replace at quarterback, at running back, your top 2 wide receivers, your stud tight end, your edge rusher, and a lot of new to blend in for Mike Norvell.
Yeah, well, even on the defensive side, guys that weren't on that graphic, so Kalen DeLoach, Tatum Bethune, the linebackers that were able to go out there and make some big plays, some game-changing plays that helped Florida State win, specifically DeLoach's sack fumble against Cade Klubnik to help FSU get that game back in contention for them. Fabian Lovett, all these young men that are not just going to make, a lot of money in the NFL, but also were pillars in building this program, doing it the right way, understanding the work, and also showing that work works. And that's something that strength coach, Coach Storms always talked about, giving back, but also how you go about your business.
Look who's in the building.
JT.
QB1.
Legend. I tell you what, man, so proud of Jordan really just being, not just a great leader, not just a good person, but also his perseverance throughout his time here at Florida State. Because we can all go back to, 3 seasons ago where, again, it wasn't necessarily going as great offensively. The fan base was feeling a certain type of way. Jordan even thought about changing positions, but Coach Norvell said, absolutely not. We are going to get this thing figured out. And Jordan went right back to work, and that's exactly what he does. And now he's about to end up being an NFL quarterback and also one of the legends coming out of Florida State.
And look, we all know how last year ended and how much frustration there was and there is for this program and this fan base. Could you have handled things any classier than Jordan Travis did for the situation last year?
And the perfect thing about that is when you have those types of moments, you need a quarterback, you need a leader of a team that can really just keep everybody under control. And granted, of course, he played amazing, but I think it's more so the way that he built relationships as a leader. I think it's also the way that he was able to be a mentor to some of these young quarterbacks. I understand DJ Uiagalelei is new, but think about it. When Jordan went out, Tate Rodemaker had to come in and step up and make some plays. Then Rodemaker leaves, and then Brock Glenn has to go out there and help a team win a ACC championship game. And I guarantee if you ask those guys, they give a lot of credit to QB1 Jordan Travis.
So that is the scene here at the Spring Showcase. Jordan Travis, Jared Verse you saw here in the building while we go through some special teams drills. Come on back to Tallahassee right after this. Sunday, it's a softball doubleheader right here on ACC Network. Syracuse takes on Pitt. Then it's number 20 Clemson squaring off against Notre Dame with coverage starting at 4 Eastern. With E.J. Manuel and Pete Thamel at a currently being renovated Bill Campbell Stadium, I'm Mike Monaco with our entire crew behind the scenes. And now we do start true scrimmage action here. 15 minutes for the first quarter, 10 minutes for the second quarter. What we've been told is the drives will finish independent of the clock. They want to get their work in here in practice number 14 of 15.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are, again, crucial reps for all these players. Not just DJU. Of course, the microscope will be on him. But offensive line was a veteran group. The DBs, also a veteran group. Good throw right there by DJU, but you got to come up with the catch as Keatron Portier with the drop. But I like it. Quick release. He saw it. He gripped it, and he ripped it.
Under some pressure, and even in just the stuff around the 12-yard line, we saw the defense generating some pressure on DJU.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this defensive line is no joke, man. And look, here's the thing. You got Patrick Payton coming back. Now you add Marvin Jones Jr. You got another transfer in Sione Lolohea. Want to make sure I say that correctly. And then just some rotational players. Darrell Jackson, he's back out there. So it's going to be a very tough group to block.
Into coverage, and that gets tipped and incomplete. DJ Lundy broke it up, and he steps into the top linebacking job after effectively serving as a third starting linebacker.
Yeah, DJ Lundy was a huge get because, again, he was in the transfer portal but decided to come back to FSU this year. Now, I would give a coaching point there. You're making a big play like that. He started celebrating too soon. Mike should have turned around, maybe had an interception. Coach Norvell's going to get him on that one.
So it's third down for DJ Uiagalelei and this first-team Florida State offense against the first-team defense. Pressure comes, quick release, and nearly intercepted by Marvin Jones Jr., the defensive end, and Georgia transfer.
And that's a great call by the DC, Adam Fuller. He brought a fire zone right in front of DJ's face, and he thought he had a hot route right there, but nope, not too soon. You got Marvin Jones, number 7, the off defensive end, dropping back right into the throwing window. And the cool thing, again, I already mentioned Patrick Payton, Marvin Jones Jr. now, both guys around 6'5", 255, 260 pounds, but not only edge rushers, but also great threats in the PBU section here, getting his hand on the football.
And how about what Mike Norvell said to us? Yeah, we lose Jared Verse, but in Pat Payton and in Marvin Jones, they can be as good as we've had. And he said to us, that is saying a lot. Speaking of defensive linemen, let's go back down to Pete Thamel with Braden Fisk.
Yeah, Mike, I'm here with one of the defensive linemen who Florida State is trying to replace right now, and Braden Fisk. And Braden, obviously, in less than a week, you will be drafted to an NFL team. What's it like just being on the cusp of a moment you've worked your whole life for?
I mean, it's becoming more and more real as the days go by, but still a surreal feeling, you know. I mean, even being able to come back here and get to, just get back to where I'm comfortable and just kind of get back to, the flow of things has been great because the last few weeks been traveling, going to teams, and it's trying to try to be as consistent as we can. But yeah, I mean, it's getting real. It's coming quick.
What are your draft night plans? I was told you were going to go back to Michigan City, and what plans do you have to engage with your community there?
Yeah, so draft night, Thursday night we're going to have like more of a smaller family get together back in Michigan City where I'm from, and then Friday night when I kind of expect to be drafted will be we're having a big get together at a brewery downtown Michigan City. A lot of people are coming out. It's gonna be a good time. Yeah.
A neat storyline here. You transferred obviously to Florida State from Western Michigan. Your close friend, I believe former roommate Marshawn Nealon, is probably going to get drafted Friday night as well. What's it like to have one of your best friends be drafted alongside with you and you guys kind of share this moment?
No, I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's just a testament to the work that he's put in and, the work that we were able to put in together when we were at Western Michigan. I mean, we spent 4 years of our career together and, if you watch his tape, you watch my tape, it's pretty similar stuff. It's just, how we fly the ball, how we get around, and I just couldn't be more excited for him and his family. It's going to be, a really good experience.
All right, last thing. Who's the breakout Noles lineman for 2024?
Breakout Noles lineman for 2024? I'm going to go with a wild card, KJ Sampson. Ooh. I think he's going to be a sleeper to make some plays out on the field this year. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, you heard it here first from Braden Fisk. Back to you guys.
I like it. Well, Adam Fuller gave us about 6 D-tackle names to know. Josh Farmer, who's out for the spring, second-team ACC last year, expected back this summer. Darrell Jackson, who Adam Fuller said has a chance to play at an all-league level this year. And then Braden's pick, KJ Sampson, Grady Kelly, the Colorado State transfer, Tomiwa Durojayi, the West Virginia transfer, and a returner in Dan Lyons. So you got a lot of options, and we know Adam Fuller wants a lot of linemen to rotate
And
through.
the great thing, too, that you have, Mike, is experience. All those young men that you just railed off, all these guys played snaps last year, whether it was on another team or whether it was here at Florida State. So when you have that rotation of defensive linemen, Odell Higgins, the D-line coach, that is something that he loves. Again, the size, but not just the skill, but also the fact that you can bring in your 2s and 3s and still get some good production.
You got to look at Sampson, the redshirt freshman from New Bern, North Carolina. Mike Norvell said he's up over 300 pounds and moves well. We got third down right now for the second-team offense, quarterbacked by Trevor Jackson, freshman early enrollee, who is a walk-on here. No Brock Glenn or Luke Kromenhoek, a couple of quarterbacks who are in the mix with DJ Uiagalelei. So more reps here for Jackson with those two guys just dealing with some minor injuries.
Oh, yeah, and look, these are all really good reps for a young quarterback. Again, a true freshman, Trevor Jackson, early enrollee. Actually, I believe walked on to this football team, had some scholarship offers elsewhere, but wanted to be a Seminole and decided to walk on here for Florida State.
I've been committed to Ole Miss at one point. So a punt here, and Jalen Lucas is the Indiana transfer, and he's the Big Ten's reigning return specialist of the year. 3 kick return TDs in his time at Indiana. One of the fun transfer pieces that Mike Norvell was excited about when we chatted with him yesterday.
And Coach Norvell called Jalen Lucas the X factor, dynamic. Can do so many different things for this football team, whether it's at the running back position, at the receiver position, and right there as you see it as a punt returner and kick return specialist. So adding more speed to this football team, Mike. And look, at this day and age with football, that's what it's all about. Who has the most speed, but also can you compartmentalize that speed and still do your job?
To go back to Pete's reporting earlier, 10 guys on this roster have clocked in at better than 20 miles an hour on the GPS catapult systems. That's moving.
That's real moving. And again, if you got 10 plus guys moving like that, that means that those are some backups, right? So if the starters come out that got all the speed, your 2s and your 3s, they can go out there and run as well.
All right, so DJ Uiagalelei's second drive. Back out there with Roydell Williams, the Alabama transfer running back, behind him in the pistol. And here is Williams plunging right side behind an offensive line that returns a lot.
Yeah, offensive line, a very veteran group. And talking to Coach Alex Atkins, he said, look, I'm spoiled. I've had these guys for, 5 years now? And a lot of them, 2 of them were here before I was even here. So, again, when you got redshirt freshmen, 5-year seniors, the opposite of that, where a lot of these guys have played a ton of football. Maurice Smith, you bring back a first-team All-ACC left tackle, Darius Washington. You add T.J. Ferguson from Alabama. Jeremiah Byers, he's back. It's a really solid group there for a young quarterback in DJU.
Uiagalelei tucks it on second down. Pete.
Double beef Whataburger. Keep it classy.
Pete, what do you got down there on the O-line? Yeah, here's the numbers. We'll get with Pete in a sec here. Maurice Smith you're talking about, Darius Washington as well.
Yeah, Keandre Jones. And the biggest thing that stands out to me is all these young men played a lot of football last year. And again, even if you're a transfer, you come to a new system, you got to have experience. And that's something that Coach Atkins, the O-line coach and offensive coordinator, loves.
Uiagalelei to the sideline, up the ladder, and that is caught. And that is Malik Benson, the Alabama transfer wideout, who Mike Norvell said to us yesterday, at that position, he's been our best guy.
Yeah, been one of the top guys. And again, he talks about his speed, the ability to take the top off, really great ball control, and also good body control right there, climbing the ladder, as you just mentioned, Mike, making a catch on the DB's head.
Uiagalelei's first completion, and it was good for 27 yards. Now he checks it down incomplete for Keziah Holmes. Well, Benson's one of those weapons. I mean, Pete said earlier, stupid talent. And the praise was pretty heavy from Mike Norvell on Malik Benson, who just had 13 receptions last year at Bama.
And rightfully so. And you got to look at also who he caught that pass on. I mean, that's one of the top corners in the ACC, and Fentrell Cypress, another returner coming from that great team last year. So good on good playing themselves right now for Florida State.
Malik Benson said, I saw last year how they used Keon Coleman. Thought they could use me like that this year too. Roydell Williams.
There it is.
Finds some space.
There it is.
And breaks free for a touchdown from 30 yards.
It's a great run by Williams right there, showing patience inside the hole. And we already just talked about the offensive line. I think that was created by the O-line. Again, doing a great job holding their edges, getting the hat placement correct. And again, Roydell Williams getting those feet up and down inside those tight gaps, and the ability to take it home with the speed. Also, look at the receivers downfield blocking. I know Ron Dugan's the receivers coach. He's going to love that one right there. So really good to see added depth at the running back position for Florida State.
Behind the legs of Smith, Roydell Williams takes it in. Bama transfers taking on a leadership role. Was in a running back room last year with Jace McClellan, and before that in Tuscaloosa with Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Robinson, and Najee Harris. He's got the touchdown in the first quarter of this spring showcase. Our spring football and NFL draft prep coverage continues Monday with our ACC Huddle Spring Recap Show at 7 Eastern, followed by our NFL Draft Preview. If it's football, we've got you covered right here with, that guy on the left.
Hey.
You're on ACCN in the app.
There we go.
The crew.
That one's going to be a lot of fun, man, Monday night. Y'all tune in.
You've been busy. You had the Miami spring game, now back home here at Florida State.
Miami spring game last Saturday. Got a chance to get on Get Up and First Take on Thursday, talk some draft quarterbacks. Let's see, Friday we had our production call, and here we are back home in Tallahassee.
Always talking about quarterbacks as Trevor Jackson took off there for a few yards. There's a lot of new ones in the ACC. You saw Cam Ward for the Canes. We're watching DJ Uiagalelei here for Mike Norvell.
Yeah, some really good quarterbacks this year in the ACC. You also got McCord there for Syracuse. A bunch of really good players. And again, guys who have played a lot of football. Tyler Shuck, he comes over to the Louisville. He's going to be their starting quarterback more than likely. So again, a really good group. And then also some great returners too.
Yeah, there's so many as you go through them. Hank Bachmeier has been all over the place in his career. Same with Max Johnson, Grayson McCall, super accomplished quarterback, joining Dave Doran's team. You mentioned McCord exiting Ohio State. Malik Murphy, who was on display already. He's in action tonight, should say, here on ACC Network in Duke's spring game. And a guy you really liked in Ward when you saw him.
Yeah, well, Cam Ward looked really clean in their spring game. Did a really good job of showing deep balls, short football throws, and again, really the ability to be accurate on all 3 different levels within the quarterback position. So Miami looked really solid, but again, you got to take that over into the summer and hopefully stay healthy so they can be competitive this year. They got a big game starting out the season against Florida.
Florida State will open up in Dublin for their part against Georgia Tech as DJ Uiagalelei leads the offense out again. 1 for 2 for that 27-yard strike to Malik Benson on the last drive. On a play fake.
Shot.
Clean pocket. A shot indeed. Downfield for Benson and incomplete.
I like it, though. I like it. It's incomplete and really good coverage right there by Quindarius Jones, number 16. But when you see tight, condensed formations like that, the receivers in there tight, off of play action, it's usually where you either run post or you run deep corners right here. This is a corner route. And I like this because, look, now the safeties, the corners, they're going to think twice about coming down to try to, bite for some of these play action fakes. They're going to start hanging back a little bit because they know DJU has that cannon of an arm. And even though it's an incomplete, I still like the ability of taking the top off of the defense.
Pretty good coverage as well from the sophomore DB you mentioned out of Meridian, Mississippi, Quindarius Jones. DJU pulls it, and there's nothing there on the right side as Blake Nicholson got to him. Sophomore linebacker from California, and he is a breakout candidate on this defense, according to Adam Fuller.
Yeah, I remember talking to Coach Fuller yesterday. He loves this young man. Again, the size, 6'3", 220 pounds, had 17 tackles last year, and not just a good player on the football field, also a 2023 academic All-ACC student athlete there. So he's going to play a huge role. Again, they're losing 2 really good linebackers going to the NFL in Deloach and Tatum Bethune. So now Nicholson's going to have to step up.
So, yeah, going to be an all-conference guy by the end of his career. Uiagalelei under pressure, got it to the sideline and complete to his tight end, Jackson West. The redshirt junior, part of the crop, replacing Jaheim Bell.
And Coach Norvell really spoke highly of this tight end group. He said they're going to be able to use a lot of these guys, but I like the ability of DJ moving around in the pocket. Got a little tight right there, but bounced out just a little bit. And big tight end Jackson West coming up with a huge catch right there to move the chains.
On the crowd here, and the ball is out from Keziah Holmes. Let's go down to Pete with Florida State royalty.
I'm here with Seminole legend Peter Warwick and also Seminole dad Peter Warwick Sr. Walk me through, first of all, what it's been like, Peter, to see this program revived. ACC champions again, 13-0 undefeated last year. It has to make you and the legends from your era feel good to see FSU on this stage again.
It do make me feel good, man. It's an honor to be back, for one. And just to see how the program changed over the years and see how far it was and how it is right now, man, I just love it. I love the way, we won all the games last year. We got cheated out of them now. I'm going to always say that. We got cheated out. But, the good thing about it is I want to see how the kids respond to that, how they come back from it and just go back and you got to do it again another year.
And one of the things Florida State did in your era is guys left and guys replaced them. Guys left and guys replaced them. What do you see from this team? I'm sure you've been around here in the spring for being able to replace double-digit draft picks next week.
Man, that's the hard part about it. But when you playing behind guys who go to the NFL, that's when it's your opportunity, you got to make the best of it. And when you got somebody like a Verse and you play behind Verse, you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to learn for it. So therefore, when you get your opportunity, you make the best of it.
What's it been like to experience this program as a dad? Your son, Peter Warwick Jr., is a defensive back, transferred up from FAU, I believe. What's it been like to experience the program that way?
Oh, man, it's special, man, because I tell my son all the time, everybody don't get this opportunity. He got to cherish it and make it do what it do. And I told him it's a lot of people that's in this world that sitting in the crowd that don't get the opportunity to be on this field. And you never know which play going to be your last play.
Well, our colleague E.J. Manuel up in the booth has a 5-week-old Romeo, and he's already hinting that he may come to FSU as well. So,
E.J., I say congratulations, man, and hey, go Noles, baby.
Back to you guys.
How cool is that? A little shout out for Rome.
Absolutely. A little Romeo probably at home sitting on mom's arm right now. I appreciate that, Pete. And
offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Just again, touching on Peter Ward, one of the guys that I grew up watching. I can remember that 99 game against Virginia Tech, the great catch that he had. And even myself coming in at Florida State, getting a chance to meet legends like him, like Charlie Ward, like Deion Sanders. Derek Brooks, Warwick Dunn. And it's special, man. And then also to see their kids now out here as Seminoles as well. It's really cool stuff, man. The brotherhood continues.
Jalen Lucas gets wrapped up in the backfield by Sione Lolohea, one of the defensive ends, an Oregon State transfer and fifth-year senior, who was all Pac-12 last year. Yeah, the 1999 team, national champions, of course, being celebrated throughout this 2024 season, 25 years. And so Peter Warwick, one of 4 guest coaches we will have calling plays later on.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who's going to come out on top now because, again, I did that. I think it was 3 spring games ago. I was going against Danny Cannell.
And how many touchdowns did you have in the drives you called?
3 for 3, Mike.
Oh, interesting.
So, hey, there's a lot there where these coaches got to go out there and call some good plays, man.
DJU threw into coverage and nearly picked by Azarie Thomas, who has had a massive spring.
Been waiting to say his name, Azarie Thomas. They call him AZ, and again, this young man is primed to have a huge season. I love the break on the football, but more so the ability to also take this where you got to catch it. That's where the money is, Azarie. You got to come down with the catch, but if you notice, he's wearing number 8 this year, and you wonder why. Jalen Ramsey, a Florida State Seminole legend as well, who also is one of the guys that Azarie Thomas tries to model his game after. Have similar builds, 6'2", 195, 200 pounds. So I'm sure Azarie wants to have a season like Jalen Ramsey.
So it sets up 3rd down for Uiagalelei, and he checks it down to Roydell Williams, takes it across the 50, and it brings up 4th down. How about what Adam Fuller said to us about Azarie Thomas? That he's the most improved player we have on the defense. And he said that's saying a lot because he's effectively a returning starter with all the reps he got last year. Right. And he told us that Thomas is probably grading out at 98 or 99% making the right play as you check out Adam Fuller tucked away in solitude up there in hiding.
Absolutely. Coach Fuller has some really good secondary players to work with this year, and Azarie Thomas is certainly going to be one of them. He's a junior this year, so, hey, look, that means he's draft eligible. This is his money year, so I know he's going to be hard on himself about dropping that interception. But, again, this ability to be smooth and be a long, rangy corner, that's what you see now in the NFL. He certainly transfers perfectly.
It's a good defense, and Adam Fuller told us a very good secondary again this season. Doak Campbell Stadium is going to look a lot different by the time the 2025 season is fully underway. Renovations going on here. Really cool future for this great venue. We're back in first quarter action here in this spring showcase for Florida State, coming off that excellent 13-win season. Proud owners of 23 wins over the last 2 seasons. Best winning percentage in the ACC and top 5 in the country.
And that's the key too, Mike. A team that's tasted that success 2 years on in now, you don't want to lose that. Yeah. You want to keep building on that. And again, some of those players that were a part of those teams, maybe they were backups, now they're starters. And so now it's time for them to etch their name in Florida State history. You want to keep that going.
Good punt here from the returning Alex Mastromano, and Malik Benson getting the look in punt return. All right, we're 4 months away from the season opener overseas. College game day will be there. Pete will be there for Georgia Tech and BC right out of the chute.
Yes, 2 really good matchups there. ACC matchups as well. Georgia Tech, they're bringing their quarterback back. They got a lot of confidence. They were able to win their bowl game. They're feeling good about themselves, had a solid spring as well. Boston College, Thomas Castellanos, he gave Florida State some upsets or some fits last year against that defense. Again, that red bandana game, Boston College had FSU up against the ropes, but the Noles were able to win. So they're going to have to come out the firing blocks week 0 playing their best football. On top of that, going overseas to play that game. So a lot of focus and a lot of attention is going to have to go into that one.
And you've done that before in your playing career, whether it was Mexico City, whether it was overseas, London, Toronto as well, even going out of the country.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not so much the travel. It's more so the time zone change. Because, again, if your kick is normally at, let's say, noon or an 8 p.m. kick Eastern time, that changes. And they try to keep those TV windows the same. So they might be kicking off there at 5 p.m. time in Ireland, but that might be an 11 a.m. or a noon kick here in Eastern time zone. So, again, it's going to be an adjustment for these players. Of course, you go over there, you're excited. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go to Europe and see and try different foods and things like that. But ultimately, you want to come back from that trip with a win.
DJ Uiagalelei took off to midfield, and now on first down, he sets up Keziah Holmes, who had the fumble earlier. He's getting some work here with Roydell Williams, Jalen Lucas featured as well. And I don't think we've seen Lawrence Toafili since the touchdown run.
Yeah, and they might shut down Toafili here. If there's any tweak or any potential injuries, again, we don't know that, but if that is something that's going on, they'll probably shut him down. It's not much for him to prove here at this point in the spring showcase.
Worth noting, no freshman Cam Davis, another running back who they're high on, the 221-pounder, is out today due to injury. Uiagalelei rifles one complete to Darion Williamson, the fifth-year senior, and there's the arm talent.
That's not even just the arm talent. It's the balance. It's the patience, the ability to stay right there firm in the sweet spot of the pocket. You're going to see him give a nice little token fake, a hitch, and the ball is fired out. And that's what DJU brings to a football team, that ability at 6'5", 255, 260 pounds to stand in there and unleash a rocket.
His third completion of 20-plus yards. He is built like a creative player.
He really is. And he looks like one, too, especially with that cool jersey on.
Here's Holmes over in the shoulder, trying to finish a run for a touchdown. 20 yards, and he ran over Shy Brown.
That's a really tough tackle there for Shaheem Brown. He had to make a business decision when 2-6 put his shoulder pads down. And again, once you get inside that 5-yard line, you see that paint there for the end zone. You're going to do a little bit of extra to go in there and get a tug. And again, this starts because of the throw by DJU, the protection by the offensive line. When you have a big play, usually the next play or the play after that one ends up being a touchdown oftentimes. It's funny how football works. But again, a really good set there by the Florida State offense. Defense going to want to get one back there.
Holmes in his third year now in Tallahassee after transferring in from Penn State. Guy who got some more work in the Orange Bowl against Georgia last season. Yeah, they're excited about the skill guys. Even though you lose Benson, Coleman, Johnny Wilson, and Jaheim Bell, the names that they were probably most excited about yesterday, to me, sounded like Lawrence Toafili, Jalen Lucas, Malik Benson would probably be the first three headliners. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I would also add Ja'Kai Douglas as well, a player, a receiver who was able to come in and make some big catches. I remember against Pitt, he had some up the sideline, even some spray fades. He was up there going up and making some big one-on-one matchup catches. And again, he's a 5'9" receiver, but he plays like he's 6'4". So, look, I tell you what, this offense has so many different weapons where they can go out there and beat you a multitude of ways.
It's been a really productive offense last couple of years. 2 straight years as the ACC's highest scoring offense, led by Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins.
You know, a lot of that came from, too, Mike, is the efficiency that Florida State's offense played with last year. And, of course, that had to do with the veteran quarterback, Jordan Travis, but the running backs, the offensive line, the receivers. There's even some draft tape of Keon Coleman blocking for Trey Benson down the field 40 yards. Like, that's the kind of stuff, those effort plays that when you have a coach like Norvell, where you're just implementing that every single day, how you go about your work, how you do the small things, and it shows up on tape, and that's why they won so many games.
Alex Atkins, one of the real entertaining coordinators you will come across in college football. Here's a flip to the edge. Lucas. And a good burst for Jalen Lucas. Let's go down to Pete Thamel, who's got more on this offense.
Well, we saw early in that drive, guys, DJ Uiagalelei take a draw up the middle. It was clearly a called draw for a healthy gain. And I asked him on Thursday, going to run you specifically game-called runs. And he said, look, I don't think there's going to be a ton of that. That's not why they brought me here. Remember, his third year at Clemson, his second year as a starter, he slimmed down to 230, 235, and they called quite a few runs for him. But he said, hey, look, third and short, third down, we need a first down. I've got no problem getting in there, sticking my head down and going and picking up a first. So it'll be interesting to see that balance from Mike Norvell this year as the play calling evolves.
That's a great point. And, EJ, I'll ask you this. What impresses you about Mike Norvell and how he fits an offense to the personnel?
Well, Coach Norvell has the ability and the openness to creating offenses that fit the player. And that's so important because there's coaches where if you come in, they want you to run their style of offense, and that's the only way. It's their way or the highway. But I think Coach Norvell is one that he sees what he has as talent. He understands his quarterbacks. He understands his offensive line. He understands his receivers. And he calls to their strengths instead of trying to get them to assimilate something that they're not necessarily comfortable doing. And I've had that. I've had both. I've had coaches that call things that I know I love, and then I've had coaches that kind of make you adjust to them. And I think Coach Norvell does a great job of creating things that these players like.
It was real interesting talking to Mike Norvell about the portal process with DJU as Jalen Lucas follows up a good Sam Singleton run. They sat down together, DJ and Mike, and they watched 3 games from last year. Uiagalelei's best, an average game, and then his worst statistical game. And Mike Norvell said to us, I wanted to hear him and his thought process. And then also, I wasn't going to have him come here unless we could make him better.
Absolutely. And again, that match, I think, is one that's made in heaven because you got a coach and a coordinator who's going to call things specifically to DJU, but also DJU's open to coaching. Again, this man's played a lot of college football. He's had success as well. People can say, hey, look, it hasn't worked here, it hasn't worked there. He's led teams to ACC championship games. He's won a lot of games in the ACC. He's been and played in the Pac-12 and has some success. So now you got a marriage between 2 people who both have a chip on their shoulder, who want to go out there and try to win a lot of games. And at the end of the day, that's the main thing. But I just feel like Coach Norvell does a great job of having relationships with his players, and even the QB coach, Tony Tokar's very important in the maturation of these quarterbacks as well, whether it was Jordan Travis and now with his current quarterbacks, Brock Glenn, DJU, and Luke Cromenhoek.
And again, if you're just joining us, Brock Glenn, Luke Cromenhoek, they're unavailable. They've both recently been dealing with minor injuries. Not anything that's going to affect them for even their summer work. So you see them very close by. DJ Uiagalelei. Here's a pitch to the edge and with some speed.
Oh, yeah.
That was Deuce Spann, who you asked the question yesterday, who's the fastest guy on the team, or rather Jalen Brown. He's a guy who is known for his speed and explosiveness.
Absolutely. A transfer out of LSU, bringing a whole bunch of speed to this offense again. And, you know, something I noticed about the speed guys is that these men are very durable. That was something that Coach Atkins talked about. Sometimes when you have the dudes who are really, really fast, they're known as track guys. They pop hamstrings, they have ankles, all these kinds of issues. But he said the real speedsters on this football team have been durable and tough and been able to stay out there on the football field to get those reps.
Yeah, Brown from LSU, former number 62 recruit in the ESPN 300. Teammates there with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, of course. And Mike Norvell said he's got home run hitting ability. Inside the 5, Trevor Jackson with a give to Jalen Lucas, and he gets swallowed up into the teeth of the defense.
It's a good stop by the defense right there. 45, Lamont Green Jr. coming off the edge. Another legacy player. Lamont, his dad, Green, all ACC fullback back in the 90s. I'm sure he's very proud to see his young man out there making plays like that.
So, with the turnover that ends the first quarter, and we head to the second, and 10 more minutes of scrimmage action when we come back to Tallahassee. It's the spring showcase for the Noles. We'll have every game of the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Sunday afternoon, first round matches with Louisville and Virginia Tech at noon, and then Pitt and Clemson. Tell me about the Sod Cemetery.
Yeah, the Sod Cemetery is a special place, and one that you're on a team that was an underdog on the road, and you go out there and win that football game. You go out and cut a little bit of sod, a little bit 6x6 of grass or turf, and you bring that back home to Tallahassee. I'm sure there's a couple games that I was a part of, but then again, not to say this arrogantly, I don't know if we were underdog in a lot of those games, but nonetheless, some really cool road victories, man, and cool to go back and see when you're much older.
Yeah, you're allowed to say it.
Yeah, you know, I'm proud of that stuff, man. I had a great team. I had a great team. We had some really fun years here too, man. You know, Jimbo Fisher was obviously the head coach, took over for the legend Bobby Bowden. And, you know, I think back on that time, it helped me mature into a man, not just as a football player, but also the education I got. It's part of the School of Communications here and had some great professors. And now I'm working in media. So, again, you know, so much is talked about transfer portal and NIL and all these different things that these student athletes have the opportunities to do. If you take your education serious, that's something you can always rely back on when you're done playing football, and you can make the choice to do that.
Let me ask you about the state of the program and some of the history you talked about. Oftentimes it's the team after the team that gets it done. So the year following what is supposed to be and is a really good season, I mean, you experienced that, a great team, ton of talent in 13. 14 ends up being a magical season.
Absolutely.
Do you see similarities here?
I really do, Mike. And, you know, it's funny, too. I think it was the 4th year, either the 3rd or 4th year for Jimbo Fisher as he was the head coach. And now this is year 5 for Mike Norvell here. And again, in year 4, they win undefeated. They win an ACC championship. And so sometimes it just takes time because, one, it's a recruiting cycle if they get that type of player in. But then it's also the culture that's taught from the coaches down to the players. And it's not even the coach telling the players. It's also players policing each other, making sure everybody's doing the same thing. They're all on the same page. And so not just the acclamation of talent, but also the acclamation of the belief, the culture, and everybody being along each other, man. And you go out there and you win those ball games, especially the tough ones, too.
Last season, of course, just so special with a dominant defense that kept opponents below 50% passing. They got it done without Jordan Travis in the ACC championship. You and I both think now and both said then that they should have been in the college football playoff.
Absolutely.
And we asked Mike Norvell, how have you processed that? Of course, it's something that is going to stay with him forever. He has said it. And he said, look, it's a terrible feeling to end what was a really special run. And he said, I know there's guys probably on our team and outside noise as well that will use it as a rallying cry. He said he's not approaching it that way. But he said to us, look, do our guys have an edge? Absolutely, there's no question.
No question. And that edge should propel them into this 2024 season. And, the downside to that situation was that there was still a lot of great players on this football team that worked hard, that still fought and scratched and clawed to get those wins, even without their star quarterback. And they should have been afforded the opportunity to play for a national championship. But it is what it is. It's in the rear view, and this football team is looking forward to 2024.
Quarter number 2 starts with DJ Uiagalelei pulling it from Lawrence Toafili. What do you look for in the decision-making of a pull?
I love that. The thing that you're looking for is that outside player there. Usually it's a defensive end or a linebacker, but whoever it is the outside player. If their shoulders are turned down to the line of scrimmage, you as the quarterback have created leverage to where then, watch number 19, he's down. His shoulders are down. So now you can at least pull that thing in. And look, you're not asking a guy like a DJU or even Jordan Travis when he was here to get 20 or 30 yards. Just give me 5 yards, get down, protect yourself, and let's move on and move the chains.
Ripped one into a tight window, incomplete to the tight end Kyle Morlock with Justin Cryer, guy who's in the top 5 linebacker mix for Adam Fuller in coverage.
Yeah, great coverage there by Juice Cryer. Now, fun fact here, LJ Cryer is his brother, basketball player from Houston, so pretty cool track there with some family ties, but again, a really good pass breakup. And another player, 2023 academic All-ACC player from last year, handling the books too.
A linebacker room that, like we talked about, replaces not only Kalen DeLoach, but also Tatum Bethune. Across the middle, and it's Malik Benson on the hookup with DJU.
That is exactly what I want to see right there, Mike. Tempo your passes. You don't have to fire every slant in there at 100 miles per hour. DJ took something off of that one to Malik Benson as he's coming in. And imagine, look, when you throw a slant, a receiver just wants a nice, friendly football on his face mask or right in his chest to where then he can make a defender miss a tackle and potentially take off another 40 yards. But again, 3rd and 4 situation, bang a slant, chains are moving, his first down.
DJU 7 of 14 for 100 yards, and he gives it here to Toafili.
It's a good play right there in the backfield by the defense. Again, the main thing is you want to set the edge, but you also want to have your 1 and your 3 technique. The interior defensive lineman holding the point so the center and the guard, they can't get up to that 2nd level and block the linebackers. Really good job right there by KJ Sampson, I believe, number 56.
The guy that Braden Fisk told Pete is his breakout pick, right beside Tomiwa Durojaye, the West Virginia transfer.
And again, Joshua Farmer, he is out today. So imagine, again, the rotation of defensive linemen that you're going to have here at Florida State. Very, very talented group.
Conrad Hussey's in on the stop on Roydell Williams. Yeah, you think about the D-line. Pat Payton is primed for a big season, talking with these coaches. And then early on, we saw plays from Marvin Jones Jr. And how about what the coaching staff said to us about him yesterday? Mike Norvell said Marvin Jones has come in and had as much of an ascension through 4 weeks of practice as anyone. And if you're Odell Higgins, John Papuchis, you love that.
Yeah, you do love that. And think about who Coach Norvell has had here at that position. Jared Burse, Jermaine Johnson. Again, Patrick Payton, who's currently here right now. So many great defensive ends. So that's high praise from your head coach. Again, for a young man that started his career at Georgia, decided to come back to home at Florida State. And again, I say home because his dad, Marvin Jones Sr., is a legend here at FSU. He had this scary picture where he had this visor and the big shoulder pads back in the 90s. We always look at that thing like, man, that's how the linebackers looked back then? So it's pretty cool to have his son here back at FSU.
Yeah, Junior's got the nasal strip.
Oh, yeah.
That's
oh,
good
yeah.
look.
He's going
You
hard.
mean business.
No
if you
question.
got that.
No question. Yeah, man. He looks like a creative player, too. Big guy right there.
6'5", 257. They want him up near 265. DJU finds Jackson West, who hangs onto it, and he's got a first down. The tight end involved again.
Mike, I cannot say how much these throws are so important for DJU. Again, the spot throws. We all know he can throw at 75, 60 yards, but look at the accuracy right there. And that ball really catches itself. Jackson West, all he has to do is put his hands up and continue to run. Another first down and a great strike by DJU, and also really solid protection by this offensive line.
Clean pocket. Uiagalelei back shoulder incomplete, intended for the former top 30 recruit, Hakeem Williams. Fair to say that of all the things you wanted to see today about this team, that with Uiagalelei, it's about that rhythm, that timing, and in large part the accuracy.
Yeah, and look, when you have accuracy, it comes from your footwork, it comes from your timing. And Coach Norvell talked about that. That's something that he, Coach Tony Tokars, the QB coach, have been repping with all these quarterbacks. Timing, timing, timing. And it was something that I saw grow with George Travis. Now he's about to be an NFL quarterback. And the main thing for DJU is that piece. If he can keep his feet tied with his eyes, he's going to be just fine this year.
Roydell Williams with a pitch to the edge after DJU has completed 5 of his last 7. Malik Benson is down, and we will check on him when we come back. Second quarter action in the spring showcase at Doak Campbell. Emma transfer and the best wide receiver so far this spring, Malik Benson, according to Mike Norvell, got rolled up on this run.
Yeah, these are the things that happen. Again, he's putting his nose in there, doing a good job of blocking, just got rolled up. Hopefully it's not anything too serious. He's able to come back. He's had a really great spring.
And so on third down, Florida State keeps it on the ground, and they pick up a first down with 5 yards. And boy, you want to come out of this healthy, and certainly with the guys that you project to be your top players, you want to get them to the summer healthy as well.
Yeah, you really do. You want to try to come out of the spring with as many healthy players as possible. And even some of the players that are hurt right now, you want to allow them those next month, 2 months to get themselves back so they're ready to go for training camp. But again, sending some good wishes there to a young man, Malik Benson, new transfer out of Alabama here at Florida State.
Lawrence Toafili tries the left side and gets just a yard before he ran into Juice Cryer in a linebacker room that is headlined by DJ Lundy. Then the next tier, Adam Fuller said to us, is Blake Nicholson and Omar Graham, who is healthy. And then after that, Juice Cryer and Sean Murphy are probably your 4 and 5 in some order.
Yeah, and again, all these guys are trying to find their spot. Some new players, looks like we got a saw blitz right here. Now pay attention to this, Mike. So there might potentially be no safety in the middle of the field. And so now DJU's going to go up to the line of scrimmage, potentially make a check, might slide the line left or right, and then take a shot here. Might have a touchdown.
KJ Kirkland is the safety blitzing, so middle of the field incomplete. Intended for Darion Williamson. You got to love that DJ saw what you saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost called it right there, but I still like the process at the line of scrimmage. That's what you want to see as a coaching point. He slides the line to the right, puts the ball right at a spot where Williamson could get a hand on it. Really just great defense by number 33, Edwin Joseph. So that really puts a lot of pressure on the DBs. And again, Adam Fuller calling these all-out blitzes, putting your DBs on the island where these guys are long, they're rangy, and that's why you have long, rangy corners where you can get a hand in there on the football.
That's how they have built this program and the way they want to play with man-on-man coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just speed, it's not just the size, but it's also now the ability. And again, when you have all out, there's no help on the inside, so DBs will start cheating in just a little bit. So I like the whole process of that play. Even though it wasn't a touchdown, it was good by the offense and very good by the defense.
Timeout was called by the offense before a potential delay of game. Well, in talking about Edwin Joseph making that play, for Adam Fuller in the secondary, it's a group that loses corners in Renardo Green and Jarian Jones, plus a safety in Akeem Dent. But again, Adam Fuller said to us, I think the back end will again be one of the strengths of the defense. The DB's led by Patrick Surtain in his now second year, the 11-year NFL veteran. They like what they have back there.
Yeah, they really do, man. And you can tell now that they're recruiting a certain type of DB. So Azaria Thomas, he's 6'2". Kevin Knowles, he's 6 foot. Shaheem Brown, he's 6'2". Fentrell Cypress, he's 6'1". Quindarius Jones, he's 6'2". Jamari Howard, freshman 6'2", so a lot of long, rangy corners. Even some guys that might have played receiver at the high school position, but now that they're here in college, they're able to take that to the other side of the football field. I'll tell you what, man, like this is a lockdown defense. It's not just about the sacks that you get from a defensive lineman with the pass rush. Also, sometimes those are coverage sacks. And when you have DBs that are long like that, it's really hard.
Sets up a field goal.
Yeah, again, cover sacks. Watch the defensive line press. And then 41, A.J. Cottrell is able to come off the edge and get a sack there. A huge stop right there for the defense, considering offense made it down into the red zone.
So this from 42 for Ryan Fitzgerald, who's going to leave Florida State with 3 degrees. Last year was 19 for 21. We told you, just an awesome story of redemption after 12 for 20 the year before. Just misses on this one.
It's a rare miss.
Here again late in the second quarter.
And again, right now, number 9 at Florida State with 299 career points. So that's rare air. And one of my best friends, Dustin Hopkins, a former kicker here, led the Noles in scoring for a very long time as well. So trying to keep that trend with FSU kicker greats.
And it's nice to bring back your specialists.
Oh, man.
Fitzgerald and then Master Mono, who, of course, was a Ray Guy Award finalist last year.
Let me tell you something. I'm not just saying kicker is my best friend. We actually really are best friends. But as a quarterback, if you know that you have a money kicker, when you get inside the 30 or the 25-yard line, it kind of reminds you in your mind, I don't need to press. I don't need to force a football in there, because if it's not there, I know I'm good for 3 points. And that was something that I learned here at college, again, having a great kicker like Dustin. But even when you get to the NFL where the competition level is even higher, your OC will tell you, hey, man, we're inside kicking range. You don't need to force anything. We for sure got 3 points, and that's what you have with Fitzgerald.
Got a new long snapper this year. You saw 51 in the Garnet. Mason Arnold, redshirt junior from Tampa, takes over for James Rosenberry, who Mike Norvell said was one of the best long snappers in the country. So that's the only change to the operation.
Mike, you think you can long snap?
You know what? No.
No?
I don't.
Me neither.
I've tried it.
I could either.
It's really fun, but no. This is Jalen Lucas, and he rips off a big one. With one hand, two hand, like, you need serious velocity on a good long snap.
Hey, listen, our long snapper back in the day was Dax Dellenbach. And again, still very good friends. Actually went over to his house for Easter Sunday not too long ago. And I'll have to ask him for some tips, because that's a tough position. And nobody talks about the long snapper unless they mess up a snap, right?
Exactly.
So it's a lot of high stakes position right there.
For Mason Arnold, the goal is to never be mentioned.
Literally.
Again now.
Because if you get mentioned, people are upset at you.
Yeah, so we got to give him some love right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Lucas ripped one off of 20+, and then Byron Turner got in for a loss of 8. And Malik Benson hops on the cart here.
Yeah, it's one of the trainers there driving that machine. I don't even know what you call that. I guess like a golf cart almost, but that's Jerry right there. He'll take good care there of Malik Benson. Jerry was here when I was here as a player as well.
Trevor Jackson ripped it across the middle, incomplete for Landon Thomas. He's a big name in this tight end room. True freshman, number 53 in our ESPN 300. Mike Norvell said he was the best tight end in the country. After a brief commitment to Georgia, came back to deciding on Florida State. And Mike Norvell said in no uncertain terms, he will play for us this year.
Yeah, he's going to play a huge role in this offense. And also OC Alex Atkins says Thomas likes to eat his lunch in the tight end coach's office. I mean, he's a student of the game, and as a freshman to have those types of habits, instead of just eating down there with your teammates, which you should do every now and then, if you get a free 30 minutes to go up to the room, learn some tricks of the trade, maybe work on some protections, things that you got to clean up for practice, those are invaluable reps to use as a young player. It's very good of him.
Alex Atkins said Landon Thomas is in there every day doing that.
Yep.
And
it's good stuff, man.
Really trying to make his mark.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he loves football, and when you're a young freshman, you try to soak up as much information as you can, especially if we know that our number is going to be called at some point in this season. And number 18, Landon Thomas, is going to be counted on quite a bit.
You got Thomas, you got West, Morlock, Brian Courtney, very athletic. Mike Norvell said this week he's taken some major steps this year. And that's the makeup of the tight end room for OC Alex Atkins and Coach Thompson leading that room.
Yeah, and there's even a lot of young freshmen here that really should still be in high school, Mike, and that's the cool part about a Landon Thomas or a Cam Davis or a LaWayne McCoy or a Jaden Parrish. Some of these players that came from the high school ranks, Kai Bates, Jamari Howard, but they wanted to forego that senior season and get here and get these extra reps. And I asked DC Adam Fuller about that. Do you think that's a good or a bad thing? And he said, man, it's awesome when these young players can come in and get these extra reps, because it's not even just the reps, the relationships, learning how to be a college athlete. Because then when you get to the summer, you've already been in school for 4 or 5 months. You already kind of know how it feels to be a college student athlete. So getting acclimated very, very quickly.
Part of all the newcomers for Florida State this year. 15 early enrollees, 14 transfers, including 5 from Alabama. And again, if you're just joining us, we go back to Pete's report earlier. Mike Norvell said to us yesterday, this is the strongest team we've had. And when you look at the guys we have going to the next level, he takes a lot of pride in that. And then he said, as far as speed goes, fastest, most explosive team as well.
Yeah, when he said that, my eyes popped wide open because I'm like, wait, they got better, they got stronger, they got faster, considering this is one of the more dominant teams physicality-wise. Again, over the country, even going back to when they played LSU last year, they beat up LSU. That wasn't just a game where Florida State won it. That was a blowout. And so I think the physicality now continue to grow for this team. And that's why I said early on, Mike, when you're a young guy on a ball club like that and you taste the success, you want more of it. So it's easy to go into the weight room and keep putting in the work because you've already seen the benefit of it.
In our way too early, as they're called, ESPN rankings, they were slotted in 15th overall in the country. Florida State was. And Bill Connolly with his preseason SP Plus has the Noles 12th here in the offseason. Certainly a long way to go until August 24th in Dublin. All right, might be our last look at DJ Uiagalelei today. He's 8 for 17 for 118 yards and tried to connect with Ja'Kai Douglas, one of the guys you mentioned.
Got to get that football up again. A potential big play. Ja'Kai Douglas might still be running if that ball is up in his chest. And that's the real, maybe the first or the second throw that I've seen DJ just be a little bit off the mark. And if you're not comfortable throwing it on the run, set up real quick with your feet, get that ball off, because the main thing is you just want to get it to your receiver so he can do the rest of the work.
So 2:11 to go here in the second of 2 quarters of scrimmage action. And Uiagalelei finds Douglas this time. The 5th-year senior had that big game at Pitt in November you mentioned when Coleman and Wilson were out.
Yeah, another player, 2-time academic All-ACC.
This is a 2-minute timeout.
And he's going to be huge for this offense again. His brother, Jalen Lucas, also part of this team now, just transferred in from Indiana. You mentioned his name quite a bit. They say, look, they go back and forth. Who's going to make the most big plays? Who's going to have the most speed? And right now, Jalen Lucas been in here for a long time, 5th-year senior. You're going to be counted on quite a bit at that receiver position for the Noles.
Yeah, how about that connection? You got brothers in Lucas, Ja'Kai Douglas. Pete's going to have more later on a couple of defensive linemen who are high school teammates and, for all intents and purposes, brothers who this year might line up side by side in Farmer and Darrell Jackson. A lot of connections on this Noles roster.
Yeah. And those connections are important, man, because it's deeper than just playing football. It's also having a brotherhood. And I'm sure a lot of these players would say, look, that's my brother. And I even think back to my teammates who I consider brothers now. We see each other growing, having families, having children and things like that. It's special stuff. And you heard even Peter Ward giving me a shout out on my new son, man. That's really what you build when you have that kind of fraternity of brotherhood here at Florida State.
Well said. I know it's cool for you to be back here.
Absolutely, man. It's home.
We got the 2-minute warning here in the final quarter of scrimmage action. We'll have a quick break. We hope to get with DJ Uiagalelei at some point. And then there will be a grand finale, as they are calling it, where Peter Warwick and company, Travis Minor, Tommy Pauly, and Corey Simon as well will be the guest coaches for some high stakes back and forth. We got the headsets that are new this year as well. And so you can radio in to an offensive player, a defensive player. So that's going to be a tweak as well.
Yeah, a great new wrinkle added to college football, which I think is long overdue. We've had it forever in the NFL, and it really just streamlines your communication. You get maybe 10 to 15 seconds as a coach to bark out the call, and then also give some quick tips to the quarterback. Hey, watch for cover 3 right here. Watch for the defensive end backing up. And even to the defense, watch the alignment of this receiver. And we talked to Coach Fuller about that. He said he had to learn how to use it too, because sometimes he's too wordy in his play calls. He now learned, okay, maybe I just give a signal, a blue, or a code word that then tells you a multitude of things. But I think that's going to be great for college football. Also, the 2-minute warning being implemented too.
Yeah, so we just did go through that 2-minute warning. Here closing down the second. Uiagalelei rifles left side and incomplete. Darion Williamson, the intended target, and good coverage from Kai Bates, true freshman, top 150 recruit.
Yep, true freshman right there, number 14, coming in, making a play out of Orlando. And again, he's only played DB for 1 year. Again, one of those guys that in high school, standout player, might have played on the offensive side, but now they've said, hey, you'll be best fit and best suited playing on the defensive side of the ball. So it's really, really nice to see a 6'2" freshman corner come up and make a play like that.
And more of that length. Third down, pressure comes. Uiagalelei finds Ja'Kai Douglas, and he wiggles forward for a first down.
And see, that's playing quarterback right there. You throw a 5-yard pass, and he ends up making you right by getting a first down, splitting the defenders right there, and that's what Ja'Kai Douglas brings to this offense. Yards after the catch. I love this right here by DJ. It's the third down situation. You want to push the ball past the chains, but nah. Hit your 5-yard check down and let him do the rest of the work.
14 yards, clock running here in a 2-minute tight drill. Sideline throw, and that is caught by Kentron Portier. The fifth-year seniors battled some injuries here this spring, made the catch on Jabril Rawls.
Listen, that's the back shoulder king right there. And I remember hearing an interview with Azariah Thomas. He said, look, Kentron Portier is the back shoulder king, does a great job, and look, kind of sneaky fast, makes you think he's a little bit slower or faster than what you might think. And as soon as he sets you up with that speed, the ball's right there on his back shoulder. Excellent throw by DJU and a great catch by Portier.
For 28 yards. Yeah, you got to do a little bit of a double take. Portier now wearing number 1 this year. You always got to get reacclimated to the jersey changes. Uiagalelei up the seam and incomplete, trying to find Brian Courtney, the junior tight end from Ashburn, Virginia.
Very good coverage there by freshman. Another early enrollee, 55, Jaden Parrish, doing a good job of just getting in the way to make that throw a little bit harder for DJU. Missing his tight end, but I think that was more based off the coverage from Parrish.
So $1:16 left for Florida State in this second quarter. Uiagalelei trying to set up the screen, and they couldn't get it to Roydell Williams. Third down.
Got to be careful with those screen passes. Again, if the picture is muddy, I was always taught, hey, just dirt it. Like, don't try to throw that ball up and hope that your running back comes up there and makes a catch, because technically that thing could be picked off by a DB who's overlapping when their offensive linemen try to block him. So I'm sure the coaching point from Coach Norvell and Coach Tokards is probably telling DJ, just throw that ball into the dirt. Don't give the defense a chance to get a hand on it.
Against the Adam Fuller defense. Uiagalelei 3 for 8 on this drive.
Free play.
Got a free play. Wants Portier. Incomplete. Flag flies. It is defensive PI.
Calling for the flag up here.
On Edwin Joseph.
Absolutely, and I love this right here. You saw a freeze, and we call this a freeze because the offensive line did not move.
Defense number 33. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Why don't they?
So the key is you're going to call a freeze so the O-line will not move at all, all right? They'll snap the ball if a defender does jump off sides. You get a free play. All the receivers will run a go route and basically just throw it up and give yourself a chance, just like we saw to get a pass interference. But the main key is do not move as offensive lineman, just in case the defense actually did not move.
Got it.
Called a freeze right there. Very good stuff by the offense.
1:04 left, second quarter, from the 19 for Uiagalelei. Jalen Lucas, brother of Ja'Kai Douglas, we mentioned, for 2 yards.
Number 24, KJ Kirkland, coming up laying the boom right there. Redshirt freshman playing behind his shoulder pass from the safety position. Very good stuff.
Officials timeout.
That is TJ Ferguson, one of the newcomers on the offensive line, who's down. The Alabama transfer, imported on the line along with Florida transfer Richie Leonard. We'll check on him when we come back to Tallahassee.
Game clock to 42 seconds.
We welcome you back to Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee for the spring showcase for Florida State. Part of 3 straight spring games here on ACC Network. Started with Wake Forest, now here with the Noles, and Duke still to come. That's the transfer O-lineman we mentioned from Alabama, TJ Ferguson, who heads off. DJ Uiagalelei to the sideline, got it complete, and connected with Landon Thomas with 35 seconds to go.
It's a good shot right there by DJ out in the flat, and also very, very good coverage. Cover 2 corner right there, Edwin Joseph coming up, making a big play to not give up anything deep for this offense.
It's now 3rd down and 5.
Well, we got a middle of the field safety here, so might be working the outside.
Uiagalelei looked that way, throws that way.
Smart.
And Thomas is out of bounds. He got rid of it. Now it's 4th down.
Yep, smart play right there. And again, like I told you earlier, Mike, inside the red zone, you got points. Don't force anything. Don't put the ball in harm's way where it gets tipped up. You have an interception, and then you get nothing from the points. So, again, now you got Fitzgerald coming in. Hopefully he can make this one. I think he missed the last one, but nonetheless, you want to finish this half here with some points. It's a great drive by the offense and also a very good stop by the defense.
With a lot of the second team and perhaps some third team out there defensively, they do get a stand on Uiagalelei and Florida State's offense. DJU 4 for 10 on that drive. This from 31 for Fitzgerald. And he punches it right on through.
And again, these reps are just as important as the offense or the defense. And I say that because this is how some of these young players who might be freshmen or might be sophomores, that might be 2nd or 3rd on the depth chart, this is how you get on the field. If you show some good effort, show that you know how to align and assign yourself to the special teams. You can't forget about that part.
It's how you grow depth as a program.
No question. And again, some of the best players started their career out on kick return, on punt return, or on field goal block. And again, even at the NFL level, there's guys who have been in the league. I love that big hat right there.
Yeah, how we feel about the big hat?
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I have to see if I can get one.
You were asking to see if there was any extra gear lying around.
Yeah, I asked the SID, Derek. Let's see if Derek Satterfield comes through for us. Maybe us.
As he often does.
Yep, some T-shirts, some shorts I can take back home. And, I always try to get my workout shoes whenever I come and do a spring game here. So maybe after the game we'll run in there and see what we can get.
Does Romeo have a onesie of Noles gear
He
yet?
does have a onesie. And, in fact, Coach Norvell and his wife sent a onesie to my daughter, Sakima.
Classy.
She's almost 2. So, Coach Norvell and his family do a great job. It's Maria Norvell. They always look out for us, man. They're good people, great people.
Well said. He, of course, needs no introduction, E.J. Manuel, nor does that guy, Jordan Travis. With the authority, Pete Thamel, I'm Mike Monaco and our entire crew behind the scenes. This game produced by Andrea Crawford and directed by Greg Ambrose and our excellent, hardworking crew. 24 seconds to go in the second. And Trevor Jackson on a corks one downfield and broken up. Intended for Jalen Brown, but there is a flag. Fentrell Cypress was in coverage.
Pass interference. Defense number 23. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
All ACC returning starter at corner.
Love the ball right there by Trevor Jackson, letting it fly. And sometimes that's what happens when you put a ball up, puts the DB in the bind where then he panics a little bit and he just tries to get a hand on the receiver so he doesn't get beat for a big gain, especially considering there's just a few seconds left here in this second quarter. But sometimes you're not mad at a PI. Give up 10 yards, move on to the next play.
On 1st down, against a 4-man rush, Jackson escapes, plants, look downfield, and he will just take some yardage, ducking out at the 44.
And again, another almost coverage sack built by the DBs here at Florida State. White on rice as far as their coverage on some of these receivers. And that's the defensive lineman's best friend. If you got DBs that stay on their man for 3-4 seconds within the down, those defensive linemen start licking their chops and say, hey, man, we're going to do a little TE stunt here on the next one and try to get a sack. Let's see if that happens.
And the early enrollee walk-on quarterback, Trevor Jackson, at the controls. With Demetric Stevens, the Tallahassee native, beside him. Jackson to the air, and he checks it down to Brian Courtney.
Good ball.
Got toward the sideline, close to a 1st down, and he's got it with 7.
Really good job hitting the check down right there in the flat, getting the ball to Brian Courtney, 86, moving the chains, understanding the situation. Maybe you take a shot right here. And as a young quarterback, you want to hit the deep ball. You want to hit the deep ball, but no, hit that check down and let him go out there and earn his scholarship too. Potentially get you a first down, moving those chains.
So with 2 seconds left on this scrimmage clock, again, we're only playing 2 quarters here. The offense takes a timeout in advance of, again, what is being called the grand finale. Some back and forth action with the guest coaches from the 1999 National Championship team.
Thank you.
Standing by, ready to call some plays and see who's got the bragging rights like you have.
Yeah, and I bet they're getting a little bit nervous too, because you got Corey Simon out there, Tommy Polley, Travis Minor, Peter Ward. Obviously, Minor and Ward probably calling the offensive plays. Polley and Simon calling the defensive plays. I'm telling you, man, bragging rights for a long time. You don't want to take it light. Go out there and try to win.
That is on deck in Tallahassee. They've added a second back on the clock in crucial breaking news. So 3 seconds to work with for Trevor Jackson.
It's a good practice play right here, too. Hail Mary situation.
He launches.
Got a chance.
Toward the end zone and batted away.
And again, that's a very good rep. Thankfully, no one got hurt on that play, but sometimes in games you have to have that Hail Mary situation built in. So it's good for the receivers, good for the offensive line to understand what to do there, and also a great knockdown by the DBs.
All right, so that does it for the second quarter of action. Again, the grand finale is coming up. Pete Thamel's going to try to wrangle perhaps DJ Uiagalelei. We'll see who else we can find on Mike Norvell's sidelines. Spring Showcase in Tallahassee continues after this. As Syracuse takes on Pitt, then number 20 Clemson squares off against Notre Dame. Coverage starts at 4 Eastern. Beautiful Saturday afternoon here in April for the Spring Showcase at Doak Campbell Stadium. And the first public look at the quarterback poised to take over for Jordan Travis, DJ Uiagalelei. 40 career starts. He's now at his third school, and I ask you, E.J. Manuel, how would you assess his day?
A sharp day. I thought DJ has done a great job of showing a multitude of throws. The deep ball, of course, that we all know that he can hit, but also tempering some of his throws, being accurate on some slants, right there putting on the top of the head of a very good corner, Fentrell Cypress. And again, we talk about the rhythm and the footwork. Being able to stay within the phase, all those things, timing up great with the passing concepts, and again, ripping out back shoulder fades right there. Tell you what, DJ looks like he is capping off a great spring. And again, he's going to continue to gain confidence within this offense as the summer continues to go, making a solid decision right there, not putting the ball in harm's way, taking off, getting a 10-yard gain. Guarantee you, Coach Norvell is going to look back at this tape and be very proud of what he saw from his quarterback.
And again, Mike Norvell said it earlier to Pete Thamel. He said it to us yesterday. He was hoping for like 7 to 8 clips that didn't go well.
Absolutely.
For DJ Uiagalelei today to take with them forward and to review when they do go through the field.
And that's the key. It's practice. At the end of the day, if you ever want to make a mistake, you don't want to do it once the game starts. You want to do it when practice is going.
You want the ball? All right, so here we go.
I'm going to take the ball down here. Good luck, guys.
We got the guest coaches from the 1999 National Championship team ready to go. Travis Minor, Tommy Polley, Corey Simon, and Peter Warwick. So, the coin toss has been decided. We'll step aside, come back, and present it to you right after this. All right, so we got the guest coaches from the 1999 National Championship team calling plays, and Vandravius Jacobs just hauled in a catch. Again, you got Travis Minor, 4 times All-ACC, more than 3,200 rushing yards. You got Tommy Polley, had the block punt in the Sugar Bowl in the first quarter that year, an All-American in 2000. Corey Simon, 6th overall pick. He was a Pro Bowler with the Eagles after being a 2-time All-American here. And Peter Warwick, you mentioned that national title game. 6 for 163, 2 tuts, and a 59-yard punt return touchdown.
He's still running right now. To this day, he's still running back punt returns, catching touchdowns. One of the more iconic plays in Florida State history. It still looks like he could go, man. P-Work's still in good shape, man. Travis Minor, too.
So these coaches, alternating series, calling offense and then defense. Quarterback is Dylan McNamara, redshirt sophomore from Naples, was trying to connect with Demetric Stevens.
And that's the 3rd time I've seen 55 Jaden Parrish come up and make a nice PBU right there. Again, a true freshman out of Delray Beach doing a really good job of, once that ball's in the air, coming in there like a heat-seeking missile, getting a hand on it. Trying to earn himself some playing time this season.
Yeah, amen. You saw Alex Atkins looking on while the coaches take over here. 3rd down, and McNamara sails it incomplete. 3 series each for both pairs of coaches, so 6 total series of some back and forth action here to close this down. High stakes, bragging rights on the line.
Very high stakes. And I remember when I did this, I actually had Tate Rodemaker as my quarterback. And I told Tate before we went out there, I said, hey, look, man, I'm going to take care of you with the shots. When we call some deep throws, I'll give you another opportunity. But the main thing is take what's there. If it's not there, take off and run. Felt like a real coach in that situation, funny enough. And, again, was very, very proud of those 3 touchdowns we scored those drives.
So they're going for it on 4th down and 10. McNamara, nowhere to go. Advantage defense as Grady Kelly, the Colorado State transfer, by the way, is getting married next month in Boulder, got home.
Yes, sir. So that's a win right there for Tommy Polley. I believe he was calling defensive plays. But again, this Florida State defense there in this situation. So first one goes to T. Polley. Good stop by the D. And you know what the cool thing is, too? This is great that Coach Norvell does this because these young players, some of these guys might not have been born in 1999.
Right.
And you think about the fact they get these legends to come back and get a chance to not only coach them but be around them. And they want to bring that championship spirit back to this Florida State football team, man. And I think that's a special thing to do. And, again, as a former player myself, when you have that open door feel, that open door policy from a head coach like Coach Norvell, it always goes a long way for us.
How about that team? Wire to wire, number 1.
One of the best ever.
12-0, go to the Sugar Bowl, and take down Virginia Tech.
Absolutely.
Peter Ward tapping up DJU.
Oh, yeah. I love Peter Ward rocking the gray and the beard, too, man. That's a good look,
That
bro.
is a good
I'm going
look.
to get there someday.
I wish I could grow a beard.
Yeah. Someday, though.
First. Yeah, someday.
Someday.
And then maybe some grays.
You're still young, Mike. It's coming.
That is over the middle and incomplete from Trevor Jackson, intended for Brian Courtney. So you do it under the watchful eye of Alex Atkins to handle all the terminology, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So as the play caller, you'll still go to the offense coordinator, Coach Ad, and tell him, and then they'll relay it in to the quarterback. But they don't necessarily give you all the control there where you're talking to the actual players, but probably don't want to make sure that you're calling something crazy.
This is 2nd down for Trevor Jackson. Throws it low, intended for Camden Fryer, speedy freshman from Lake City and a legacy Knoll.
And again, that might have even been a sack on that play right there. Number 14 striking in Kai Bates once again from the corner position on call that a corner cat blitz right there. Young quarterback's not going to see that one. Could have been a blow up in a live game. But again, good practicing habits too, and that's not something that we talked about. You know, when you're playing in a spring showcase or you're going against your offense, your defense, you still want to take care of those guys. Those are your teammates. You don't want to take any liberties out there and end up hurting the guy.
No doubt.
Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
It's on Ben Ostazuski.
And see, that's a great coaching point because, again, you got a young quarterback in there, a true freshman in Trevor Jackson. Maybe he's a little iffy in his play calls. Maybe he's a little iffy in the sense of getting up there at the line of scrimmage. So as much as that's a bad play, in the sense of it taking 5 yards away, it's a good coaching point for quarterback and offensive line to sit in there and wait on the call.
Jackson, incomplete. It was tipped on its way to Xavier Johnson. Yeah, so how do you think quarterback's going to shake out? Again, we're not seeing Brock Glenn, Luke Kromenhoek today. Tay Rodemaker, who you mentioned, transferred to Southern Miss. A.J. Duffy transferred to San Diego State. And the guy we've been talking about all day, DJ Uiagalelei.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that Glenn and Kromenhoek weren't able to go in this spring game, obviously dealing with some injuries. But I think Coach Norvell has faith in all the QBs in that room. And we saw it last year when Jordan Travis went down. The other backups had to step up. So as much as the pressure will be on the starter, whether it's Uiagalelei, whether it's Brock Glenn, the guys behind him also are one play away from being out there leading this football team. So again, they've already had 14 practices throughout the spring. All those guys getting implement time, more opportunities to throw the ball, more opportunities to get in and out of huddle and all the situations within the practice. But ultimately, I do think DJU came here for a reason to end up being the guy.
Engaged right now on the sideline, closing this thing down in the spring showcase. Again, the Noles will open up in front of the entire college football world's eyes in Dublin.
Big game. Again, huge situation. It's going to be awesome to go over there overseas to play a football game, but Georgia Tech is no slouch. And they finished their season extremely strong, winning their bowl game, feeling extremely confident about themselves coming into 2024.
It's the Tallahassee native Michael Grant. Went to high school just about 15 minutes northeast of here, a legacy Nole as well, taking over at quarterback. Yeah, and then Cade Klubnik and Clemson, they'll be here in Tallahassee on October 5th.
How about that game?
Yeah.
How about that game? DJU's former team coming to town in Tallahassee. And by that time, we'll have a good feel of who Florida State is. We'll also have a great feel for who Clemson is. And usually that game is sometimes determining who's going to have that opportunity to battle it out for the ACC Championship in December. Both teams bringing back strong defenses, so it's going to be a great one.
Grant rolling left.
You had him.
We'll tuck it and go toward the sideline in what is the third of what we expect to be 6 drives here. Well, DJU's day is done. He's standing by with Pete.
I'm here with DJ Uiagalelei. His first official day wearing the spear, wearing the cool turquoise jersey. How did it feel out here today, DJ?
Man, honestly, it was a blessing. Thank my God, my Heavenly Lord Savior Jesus Christ for giving me the opportunity to be out here and the wonderful opportunity to be here at this prestigious university, Florida State. The fans are great today. Obviously, we got the brand new turquoise uniform on. It was great, man. I had a wonderful time there today.
But we saw some of what you could be in this offense today. What do you think you showed today that can highlight what this offense can look like this year?
For me, man, I feel like I did a good job getting to my playmakers, giving them a chance with the footballs. Obviously, we got to clean some stuff up, and I got to clean some stuff up. But the biggest thing, man, take it one day at a time, continue to keep getting better, continue to build the relationships between the coaches, the players. But, man, I'm just thankful for this wonderful coaching staff, Coach Norvell, Coach Tokarts, for giving me the opportunity to be here playing this wonderful team, man.
4 short months before you guys kick off the 2024 football season in Dublin, Ireland. What should America expect from the Noles that night?
I think we'll be a great football team, man. You just have to wait to see, but we're really excited. We got a great group of seniors here. The players here at Florida State, man, they do an unbelievable job embracing the history, embracing the tradition we have here. And Coach Norvell, man, he's one of one, man. So it's a pleasure to be able to play for him and play with a group of guys on this team, man. It's been a wonderful pleasure so far.
E.J. Manuel, former Nole, up in the booth, commented today that your footwork appeared tighter. That's one of the things that Mike Norvell has done. Walk us through a little bit of the technical things you've learned here.
Well, I appreciate you, E.J. Coach Norvell, man, he's a technician. Same thing with Coach Tokarts. I appreciate those two. But the biggest thing with those guys, man, they want fundamentally sound. As long as my feet is in the right rhythm, the right place at the right time, then the ball will come out in the right position. But they've done a great job coaching me hard and then giving me a great knowledge and great wisdom to be able to play the position.
All right. Much like his feet, DJ Uiagalelei in the right place at the right time. Thanks, guys.
Great stuff. And a good assist from EJ. And I'll ask you this now. All right, so you finished spring ball. They do have one more practice to come technically, number 15 for them. What are the next few months like until Dublin with College Game Day there? For a college football player, but really for QB1 as well.
Yeah, for QB1 specifically, you go back to the drawing board. You look at some of the things that you got to clean up from the spring. You start getting your receivers out there because that's the time where the coaches are going out recruiting, doing what they got to do. So it's really on the players to police themselves, make sure everybody's still showing up to class, finish up this spring semester the right way. But the main thing is you want to pick up where you left off from spring. So don't just go up and look at the next 2 or 3 weeks as, hey, I'm going to just hang out. Nah, you got to stay in the weight room. And some of those times it's optional optional, but we all know it's not really optional. The coaches want you in there getting that work in, and I guarantee you, this Florida State team, they're ready to keep that work going.
They get home on Dylan McNamara for a sack. All right, let's pick up the final pieces here today from what we've seen. We've talked a lot about DJ Uiagalelei. What else in particular has caught your eye, or from what you've learned the last few days?
Well, I'll start with the defense. I think they've done an excellent job, especially the DBs, staying on some of these receivers, allowing these defensive linemen to get back there for some coverage sacks. We've seen linebackers, DJ Lundy, again, a huge get back for this defense, but also for this team as far as the leadership ability, being a fifth-year senior. Guys like Blake Nicholson at the defensive spot, Justin Cryer, him popping out there, Sean Murphy as well. And then for the offensive line, super solid all day. We've got a bunch of fifth-year seniors up there. Receiver position also looked really sharp. Jakad Douglas. Hopefully Malik Benson is not injured too bad. Want to get him back as soon as possible in the fold. And then I was impressed with the running back group.
Yeah.
We didn't have a whole lot from Lawrence Toafili, but the time that we did see him still looked like he's in midseason form. Saw Keziah Holmes go out there and make some plays. Rodell Williams come from Alabama getting the touchdown run. So overall, great day for the Florida State Seminoles, looking really good here to wrap up the spring.
Yeah, I think the names that were kind of pushed with the most excitement yesterday when we asked questions of the entire coaching staff, Lawrence Toafili, they feel like is a different guy.
Yep.
Took a big jump. They feel like Jalen Lucas can be very dynamic at running back. Malik Benson, obviously the health question with him. You'll hear from Mike Norvell at some point here over the next few days, and hopefully good news with him. And then with defense, you mentioned a lot of the names there and how they stuck out to you. I go back to what Adam Fuller said to us yesterday. He feels like there's a lot of really good players who have been in this program, who have been biding their time. And now he said, in the case of DJ Lundy, but in others as well, you need your really good players to get better and take that superstar jump.
Absolutely, and a guy like that is Patrick Payton. I mean, he started out his career here at Florida State, being the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year, comes back with an excellent sophomore year. I think led the country with 10 pass breakups for a defensive lineman, and again, 6'5". He added 15 pounds to his frame, and when you see first-rounders coming out of your position, like a Jared Verse, like a Jermaine Johnson, you want a little bit of piece of that as well. So guarantee you he's going to be out there looking for sacks, and not just sacks, but also tipping the football to create some interceptions for himself or this defense.
Yeah, it was like week 5 or week 6 last year, and Pat Payton actually asked the coaches, hey, what's the record? And Adam Fuller loves what he's got.
Oh, yeah.
And Pat Payton, who's put on anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds, depending on who you ask. And he looks poised to have a big-time season. He's had 2 really good ones the last couple.
And, Mike, here's the thing. As a quarterback, when you're watching tape of this Florida State defense, when you see a defensive end like Patrick Payton or even a Marvin Jones Jr., when they're tall like that, it kind of stays in your mind because you know, hey, look, if I throw this ball on the line, it might get tipped. And, again, that's a way that you can impact the quarterback. If you can't get home for a sack, all right, well, cool, stand right there. You're already tall enough. Could play basketball if you wanted to, and put your hands up and tip that ball in the air. And we all know tips equals picks on defense.
A tip ball is a pick ball. Big stick there on the incompletion. And finishing that hit for the defense was Christian White.
Yes, sir. Christian White coming up laying the wood right there. But for a quarterback coaching point, you got to have that ball out in the front of your running back so he has a chance to not only catch it but also turn up upfield. So that'll be one that Trevor Jackson's probably going to get coached up on a little bit in the film room. You got to take care of your backs, your tight ends, your receivers, and protect them when they're out there in the flat and they can't look.
Got to look at Marvin Jones Jr. over there as well. This is 4th down for Trevor Jackson. Winding down this back and forth. Finds a connection to Jeremiah Giedris, the redshirt senior from in-state.
Another
Josh
really good
Farmer
stop
there.
Yeah, another really good stop by the defense as well. And speaking of Josh Farmer, look how big that dude is, man. I mean, come on. Play a 1 technique or a 3 technique. That's exactly what you want for that defensive line. I know Odell Higgins loves that big man right there. Anywhere number 5. I love it.
Yeah, good number. All right, we are winding things down here, and we are saying so long from Florida State. For Pete Thamel, for the legend here at Florida